So we are back. Once again, welcome everyone to our live webinar for an efficient supplier communication in RFQs and eAuctions. My name is Alina and I am in charge of the customer success team here at Prokuria. I know you all have very busy schedules, so thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. A few housekeeping items before we get started. My colleague Eugene and I will share with you today how Prokuria can help with communicating with your suppliers before publishing a sourcing event, during the event, and after the event has ended. This should take us about 20 minutes, and at the end of the presentation, we'll have a Q&A session for 5 minutes. Please feel free to ask questions through the chat at any point during the presentation. We will respond in the final part of the webinar, the Q&A session. If we'll not manage to address all your questions today, we'll make sure to come back to you by email. Also, we will get back to everyone with the recording of the webinar. Feel free to rewatch it, get back to us with any questions, or share it with our colleagues. So this being said, we're ready to start. Eugene, you can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Alina, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Eugene, and I'm a business development manager at Prokuria. First of all, thank you all very much for taking the time to join our webinar. We hope that you will find the information useful and helpful for your sourcing needs going further. If you've joined this demo, you're probably starting to notice that organizing your sourcing events or your supplier database just with emails and Excel files isn't good enough or efficient anymore. Maybe you are looking for a system to help you stay on top of everything. Well, that's what Prokuria is. It's a cloud-based platform used for automating sourcing and supplier management. And today we will focus on a very important part of the sourcing process, which is communicating with your suppliers in a very efficient way. Now let's go through the agenda of today's webinar, and let me share my screen real quick. So basically, the agenda would be the following. So we'll have a short introduction, which I have just done, and then we will focus on the following aspects. We will focus on the communication with the suppliers before the event, during the sourcing event, and after the sourcing event. And at the end, we will have a short Q&A session with my colleague Alina. So now, without further ado, let's move on to the first part of the webinar, which is the communication with the suppliers before the event. So basically, we at Prokuria consider that preparation is one of the main keys to a successful sourcing event. Before publishing an RFP, RFQ, or an auction, especially for larger projects, it is ideal to contact suppliers and inform them about the future RFI, RFP, or RFQ. This information can be communicated by email or by phone. You should also make sure you have the right contacts from the suppliers. You should have a brief initial discussion that can help anticipate possible issues regarding choices of data, requirements, or event parameters. A small initial training will ensure that suppliers have a clear picture of what is expected from them and should reduce their additional questions. Supplier training is particularly important for the auctions as they need to be comfortable with the technology and avoid any confusion during the actual bidding. If there are vendors who have never participated in such online events, they should receive special attention so that they do not have a disadvantage to other suppliers. We have also created email templates for the suppliers that we provide to our clients so they can send them to their own suppliers before participating in their first RFQ or auction. And we have this stored in our comprehensive knowledge base, and we have here some very interesting articles that we can share with you. And we also have have email templates for the suppliers, as I was saying. It is crucial that the suppliers know beforehand that they will be using a third-party platform. Luckily, if you've been to or seen any of our previous webinars, you know that providing quotations as a supplier is very easy in Prokuria, as this has been one of our primary focuses when developing the platform, to make the experience as smooth and easy as possible for the suppliers. Now let's delve into the platform and see what options we have available for communication before a sourcing event. So real quick, I will show you Prokuria, what you see here. So for the people who are joining us, let's say for the first time, this is the main dashboard of Prokuria. Here we can see all our active sourcing events at any given time. And on the left side, we have what we call projects. What is happening is we are organizing all our sourcing events into these projects. Projects can be related to departments, the subsidiaries, the product that you're buying, and so on. Or if you do not need this functionality, what you can do is you can simply put all your sourcing events under one project. One very important aspect of Prokuria is the supplier directory. So before launching all your sourcing events, you need to have all your supplier database in Prokuria, which I will show you real quick how it looks like. So this is what we call the supplier directory. These are all the suppliers that we have at any given, at this point. We can filter, sort by different criteria that we have here. Everything that you see is fully customizable. We can add new columns, delete existing ones, and so on. And to add new suppliers, we can either add them one by one or with the import with Excel functionality. We also have a contracts repository in Prokuria, so you can store all your active and inactive contracts with all your suppliers. And most importantly, we have here this project section where we see all the projects under which we organize all the sourcing events. And let's choose this project. And now let's look at a draft. Let's look at a draft event, basically. So what happens here is this is the main view of an RFQ. This is a let's say a scenario in which we are a company that wants to buy office furniture, and we want to run an RFQ. Real quick, how this RFQ is structured in Prokuria. We have some sections which I will guide you through real quick. On the general information, we have the name and the description of the RFQ. On the documents, we can add whatever documents we want for the suppliers to to review and to take into consideration. On the settings, we set the start date and then we set an end date, so when the suppliers won't be able to submit bids anymore. The owner is the person who is responsible for the event. We can set the currency in which we want to receive the bids. We can also have some advanced settings. We can set budgets, cost centers, and so on. On the suppliers, we add all the suppliers that we want to have for a particular, let's say, for this particular event. And all these suppliers are added from the supplier directory, which I have shown you earlier. On the items, we have all the products or services that we want to buy. And all these columns that you see here are fully customizable. This is what we call an items template, and we can change them. We can change all these columns according to your needs. And on the question side, we can create questionnaires for the suppliers in order to get as much information as needed from them. Also, it is very important to have a clear line of communication in Prokuria with your team members as well, not just with the suppliers. So in an event, we have this internal info section where we can communicate with our team members, other users of Prokuria, before, during, or after the event. Right now, we'll focus on the communication before the event. So I prepared this RFQ, and I would like the confirmation from one of my colleagues that the questionnaire is okay. So what will happen is on the comment section, I will simply tag my colleague Alina, and I will ask her if the questionnaire is okay. And what happens is she will receive an email notification that she has been tagged here, and she will go and answer. The email that she will receive will look something along the lines of this. So she will know exactly who has tagged her, who has mentioned her in the message, what is the message, and she will only have to simply reply to the message that she has received. So now if we look at the event, now we see that my colleague Alina has logged in, and she has received this message. She has given us the blessing. So now we could potentially launch the RFQ. So this is very important to have a clear line of communication with your colleagues as well. So now that we have run through the let's say through the communication before the event, and now let's move forward with the agenda. So let's see what we have next. Basically, we have the communication during the event. So once the event is published, in our case an RFQ, you can monitor who opens the invitation, who has agreed to participate, and who has not. If providers seem to have no intention to submit a proposal or bid, they should be contacted to confirm whether they have received the invitation and whether they intend to participate. Thus, you keep strict control of the process and ensure that you get maximum participation for effective negotiation. And now let's go to the platform, and we have this already active event. And in this situation, on the supplier side, we will see that 3 suppliers have already submitted their responses, so we already received bids, and 2 of the suppliers haven't read their invitation. So what we can do here is, for the ones that haven't read the invitation, we can simply resend it. So there is no need to take communication outside Prokuria. Everything can be done. Everything can be done inside the platform. Also, if there are changes to the event, for example, extension of a deadline, the timely communication of these changes to suppliers is crucial. So in order to change the deadline, we can simply change this end time. We can put here, let's say, another date. We'll just save, and the suppliers will be notified of this with an email that looks like this. So basically, the suppliers will see that the new deadline for submitting the responses is the following, and they can also have a link in which they can access the event. Let's suppose now that we want to do some, let's say we want to do some changes to the RFQ. Let's suppose that we want to add some new items. So let's say that we want to add some new, in this situation we want to buy furniture. Let's say that the project involves some new pieces of furniture. And in order to do this, in order to add new items and also questions, if needed, what we can do is we have this pause event functionality. And when the event is paused, what we will do is we can show an alert banner to the suppliers, so the suppliers know what exactly is happening, because when the event is paused, the suppliers won't be able to submit bids. So let's say we will have a banner here, and we will say that the event is paused in order to add a new item to the RFQ, let's say. And we will simply pause the event. So when we do this, what will happen is on the supplier side, so I am now on the supplier side, the supplier has received this notification, this banner, and he can acknowledge, and the supplier can acknowledge the message. If we go back on the buyer side, now we can edit the RFQ. Let's say we want to add, like I was saying, a new item. Let's say we want to add a new piece of furniture. Let's say we want to add a sofa for the break room. Let's say we'll just add here a short description. We'll just fill in all the information, and also let's say we want to add a question which is related to the new item. So we'll just add here a new question. Let's say we want to ask the suppliers to provide us some more details about the sofa. Let's enable the suppliers to attach some documents, and we will put the category and product specifications. Now, when we have done all the changes to the event, we can also modify descriptions if needed. We can add documents, so we can edit the event however we need. After that, what we will do is we will simply resume the event, and what we can do here is we can move all the responses of the suppliers back to draft. So if the suppliers have submitted, let's say, an answer beforehand, before this change, we can choose to send their responses into draft, so they can take into consideration the new item and the new question, so they can submit a new bid for the entire lot of items. And we can also show an alert banner to the suppliers exactly like when we paused it. And let's just put here a banner, let's say. So now we'll just resume the event, and what will happen if we go on the supplier side, we see here that the event was resumed, a new question has been added. We can, again, as suppliers, we can acknowledge the message from the buyer, and we will see that there is a new item here to be taken into account and to be, to submit a new answer. And also, if we go on the questions, we see here the question regarding the sofa. So this is what happens when we want to add new items, and this is how we communicate with the supplier in, let's say, in a timely manner. So now, if let's say a new feature is that when the deadline comes very, very close, so the deadline of the event, the providers who have not yet sent their offer should receive notifications and be reminded of the deadline. That is why we send a notification 24 hours prior to the end of an RFQ to remind the suppliers that they have this time remaining, and the suppliers will receive a notification which looks along the lines of this. So They are reminded that the event will end in 24 hours, and also they will see which is the new deadline. Now let's move to another very important feature of Prokuria, which is the message center. So let's suppose that ourselves as buyers, we want to send a message to to all the suppliers. What will happen here? So just real quick, let's go to the message center and let's add a new question. We'll just choose a message type. We'll put a message. We'll put a message subject. Real quick. Just a second. So let's say that we want to put question to clarification. So one of the questions we realize that we want to add some some clarifications. So what we do here is we will create this message and we will select the suppliers that we want to address this to. And when we do this, we will just click on send and we will get different threads of communication with all the suppliers that we want to address this question to. And this basically what will happen is the suppliers will be able to let's say answer the questions as well. And also let's now suppose that the supplier wants to communicate with the buyer. So what will happen is we will go on the supplier side, but I want to show you exactly how suppliers let's say are notified when an RFQ is starting. This is for the newcomers. So basically when we launch an RFQ, the suppliers receive an email notification that looks like this with the name of the RFQ and with the description, so all the details, and all the suppliers need to do is they will need to click on this button on view event. I'll just put it in the browser, and the suppliers are redirected to a response page where they have the terms and conditions of Prokuria. However, we have a very important feature called white labeling, in which we can change these terms and conditions to be your own terms and conditions. For the moment, let's agree to the TNC of Prokuria, and the suppliers are redirected to a secure response page where they can choose to participate or decline the event. These are the banners that I was showing you earlier. And if the supplier wants to ask a question to the buyer, what will happen is they will go to the message center, and the principle is let's say quite similar. So let's put here. Let's just address a question. Let's say question 11 is not clear. We would like to have some clarifications. We can also add some documents if required. And when we send this message, what will happen is if we go back on the buyer side, so I'm now on the buyer side, I will see this question. So what we can do here, we have all the information from the supplier, and on the comments part, what we can do is we can tag other members of Prokuria. Maybe I don't have the answer to the supplier's question. I need some help, and I will enlist at this moment. I will enlist my colleague Alina's help. What I'll do, just a sec. So I will tag again my colleague Alina, and I will ask her to help me with the supplier's question. The principle is the same as I have shown you earlier. She will log in here, she will receive a notification, she will log in, she will answer, and when we have all the information, we can then, in the messages with supplier section, we can answer to the supplier, and we'll just, let's suppose we have all the information, and we will say that please find attached the requested info. We can attach something, and after we have submitted this information, if I go back on the supplier side, what will happen is I will see the information from the buyer. So communication is easy and seamless, and everything is done through Prokuria. No need for unnecessary phone calls or emails or anything like that. Everything is stored in Prokuria for a very clear audit, let's say at the end of the event. So this has been how communication is done during the event in an RFQ. Now I want to show you how the communication is done in an auction. The principle is quite similar. However, well, there are, let's say, a few differences, and I will show you right now how it is done. So bear with me. this is what I'm showing you right now is the supplier view in reverse auction. So what happens here is I am now logged in as a supplier. I have all the information when the auction starts and when it ends. I have documents. I have everything. I have already submitted some bids, and I have some questions for the buyer. Usually, from our experience, suppliers are the ones that have questions for the buyer. So also the key here is to keep your communication short and precise in order to focus on the bidding process more efficiently. And how the communication is done, we have again the message center functionality where we will simply add a new message here. And let's say we have an issue with one of the products. As we can see here, one of the products is a headphone set. So as a buyer, I want to buy Apple AirPods, and the supplier, I am now back to the supplier, has some questions regarding this. So the supplier will simply send this message. The buyer will receive this message, and the principle is similar to what I have shown you in the RFQ. So I have shown you so far the communication before the event and during the event, and now let's go to the next one, which is communication after the event. So once the event has ended, it is important to keep the providers informed about the evaluation process. Selected vendors should be notified when and what the next steps will be. Suppliers that were not selected should be acknowledged for participating in the project and make sure they know their importance in the procurement process. Remember that suppliers spend time presenting quality responses, and you may be working with them in the future. Suppliers want to know that they are seriously considered for this opportunity and that you professionally manage the procurement process. So now let's dive again into the platform, and let's consider an ended event. So let's suppose that we have an event that has reached its end time. All the suppliers have submitted their responses, and we have here a very important feature, which is the compare responses feature. And in this case, what will happen is we can compare all the bids of the suppliers. This can happen at any given time during the RFQ. So whenever a supplier submits some bids, we will see them here. They are organized under one format, very easy to follow, very easy to do further analysis. You can take this information in an Excel format. So there are a lot of functionalities to work with. So when the event is ended, what we will do is we will mark the answers. We will mark let's say the items that we want to buy, be it product or services. And let's say I want to buy 2 items from a supplier and I want to buy another one from the other suppliers. What we can do here is we can show these marked items to the suppliers, and what will happen is for the supplier that has from which we want to buy ergonomic chairs and interior design, I will now show you what happens on his side. He will see here that the request has ended, and he has these items marked here. So he will know that the buyer wants to work with him. Moreover, and more importantly, from here on, what we can do is we can send messages to marked suppliers and also to the unmarked suppliers. Right now, let us send a message to the unmarked suppliers. We'll just put here a message type, let's say clarification. I will put here a message informing them that we have decided to pursue the contract with another supplier, but we thank you very much for their time invested here, and we will work in the future. And on the message subject, we can put let's say RFQ conclusions, or whatever is required on your end. And when we send this message, this message is sent to the suppliers. And now what we can do is we can also send the message to the marked supplier, so the ones we wanna work with. And again, we have some, let's say, some templates which we can help you with, and we can choose here to address it. It already is already pre-selected who to address this to. So again, we'll put the clarification. Thank you for participation, let's say. And after that, we will simply send this message to the suppliers, and what will happen is the suppliers will receive this message in the form of in the message center, and from here on you can continue the RFQ, the contract phase or the negotiation phase. You can continue it offline. So basically, I have covered how to communicate efficiently with your suppliers before, during, and after the event. And now I think it is time for the short Q&A session. However, just before the Q&A session, I would like to let you know that in order to test and experience what we've just shown you and more, we have a 2-week free trial that you can access on our site, prokuria.com. You just click on Start Free Trial, no credit card or such things required. Simply test the platform, see if it's a fit for you, and if you want to go more in depth or have any questions, we can schedule another demo with you and your team. Simply contact us via the contact form on our website, and we'll be in touch. So now, Alina, let's see what questions we have from the audience in the short time that remained.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Eugene, for the excellent presentation and for showing Prokuria's features. We have some questions, and I'll start to read the first one. What's the major differences between Prokuria and the other platforms, such as Ariba, advantages, drawbacks, and so on? I'll take this question, and I'll start by saying that big players like Ariba are offering an e-sourcing solution as part of their ERP suite or fully Prokuria platform suite. Their product is dedicated to enterprise only, extremely complex and expensive. The difference for us, the differentiator that we have on this market is that we are an agile and easy solution for automated sourcing and supplier management. Prokuria is simple, intuitive, yet very powerful when starting to customizing the solution as per your company's need. More important, no training is needed for buyers and suppliers, which leads to a faster adoption by the team. And also, we are a cloud-based platform, so it's straightforward to be customized for special requirements like approval flows, audit needs, or special user rights. Also, I need to mention that with Prokuria, you can publish your RFQ in the same way that you basically access your extra customization can be done with us in a timeline starting from 1 day, if it's something really easy, like a simple workflow, or it can take us like 3 weeks or 4 weeks to highly complex integration or customization. I hope I've answered the question. We have a second one. Hi, you mentioned white labeling. Please offer more details. Eugene, if it's okay with you, I'll take this one as well.
Sure.
Kindly ask you to share your screen on Prokuria's main dashboard, and I'll explain a little bit what white labeling means.
Sure thing.
Okay, thanks. So white labeling means that you can basically have Prokuria as your own procurement platform in about 2 weeks. White labeling means that you can customize the user interface. You can add your own logo instead of Prokuria's. You can change labels, headers, footers in order to align them with your brand. With the help of white label, you can also have a custom email address and a custom web address. Maybe you can share an email, exactly, to showcase where you can find those. So suppliers will receive emails from your email servers and will access only your domain. So basically, this is what white labeling means for Prokuria. Okay, and another question. Can I test the platform with my team?
Okay, so I'll take this one, Alina, if it's okay for you.
Sure.
So definitely you can definitely test the platform with your team. We have a 2-week free trial which can be accessed from our let's say from our main page here on prokuria.com. You will just click on start free trial. You will just have a few details to enter. No need for credit cards or such things. You can simply register here an account. You can register yourself with your team, and you can test all the functionalities of Prokuria for 2 weeks. So I hope this has answered the question.
Thank you. So I think this concludes our webinar. We do have some more questions on our chat, and we'll make sure to come back to you by email. I hope you find this webinar useful. Again, thank you very much for joining. We will send you the recording and hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.